Hey everybody, I just wanted to pop in and give just a quick training here. The day's moving fast, but we have a lot of new guests who are coming over from the conference, and I wanted to just offer just a little bit of a bonus training for what we do and let you see a kind of a sneak peek. It's summertime. And I love summertime. Sometimes we go homeschooling all the way straight through the school year. But if we do, it is a scaled back version of it. This year we're not, but regardless of what I do, whether we're homeschooling straight through the summer or whether we are taking a break, this summer is for me always a time for, you might say, mom care. And when I talk about mom care, it means something very different, I think, than what a lot of people mean when they talk about mom care or self care. I'm not talking about a bubble bath. Really, more what I'm talking about is self improvement. And this is why it's so important to invest months at a time. During the school year, we're so busy. We're so busy, we're pouring all of ourselves into our children and into their education and into their personal development. But the truth is that you can't give what you don't have. You cannot give from an empty cup. So, what do we need in order to fill our cup so that we have an abundance? So, we're not living from a place of depletion, but we're giving from a place of abundance. This is a very rare thing to find among women today because, and I wouldn't even say among women, I think that all of us, we are all living in a crisis of depletion. We're living in a crisis of comparison and competition and criticism. And this is the world that we just live in, where we are always just fighting to keep up. We live in a world where social media demands so much of us. The emails are coming in, text messages are coming in, and we're just pulled from all directions. And you add to that, our children's needs and our spouse needs and our friends' needs, and what is left? What do we have to give? And and then if you add on top of that the importance of realizing that as a parent, the primary thing that the child is going to learn from is us, right? More than any textbook that you could buy, they're going to learn from us. More than any opportunity that you give them, they're going to learn from us. More than any coach or mentor or priest or anything else that they have in their life, mom and dad, you are the mold that creates your child's view of himself and of the world. And that formation will last his whole life. And so we have to be very careful to make sure that the mold that that child is being formed in is good, right? We are the mold. We are the mold that is forming our child. And so it is critical that we spend some time, we invest that time in ourselves. So let me show you a little bit about what we mean. Let me see if I can actually, oh, I can't. See, I have never used Facebook Live and tried to screen share at the same time. I can't do it when the program is in process. Okay, I'll just have to talk my way through it. So if you think about your life, Mom, your life, you have about 8 arenas that make up the whole woman, right? You have your family life. And this is the part of our life that we are pouring our whole self into. We have our self-image. And that simply is, it's how we think of ourself. Do we think of ourself as a competent homeschooler? Do we think of ourself as worthy of our child's respect? Do we think of ourself as a hot mess? How do you think of yourself? Who are you when you think of who you are? All right. We have our health. And our health is our physical, spiritual, and emotional health. right? And all of that is another arena, and it's an arena that needs to be managed. There are skills within this arena that need to be learned, and this is an arena of our life that we can't ignore. It's there. All of these arenas, they can't be ignored. They're there whether we want them to be or not. All right, we have the another arena, which is our friendships. And our friendships, within our friendships, these need to be managed and cultivated as well. Within friendships, we need to be able to choose good friends. We need to be able to choose friends who are going to pull us up, not drag us down, not criticize us, who will challenge us. We need to have very strong skills for boundaries when it comes to our friendships. We have our intimate life, and our intimate life is going to be part of our life long after the children have graduated and have gone. And this is an area that often sadly gets neglected, and gets forgotten about, and yet it's so important. I mean, we are the two or one, and it needs to be protected and guarded. We have our contribution, right? There are things that your heart is telling you you want to do for the world. You want to be able to give to your church, to your community, you want to share your talents and your ideas to others within your home and outside your home. We have our environment, and our environment is both our internal life, our internal environment, and that's the thoughts that and the emotions and all the things that are going on the inside, the anxiety or the peace, or what your internal environment is. And you also have your external environment, that's your home. And your home, it's what is surrounding you on the outside. This needs very deliberate skills as well. How to manage the clutter, how to manage the designation of chores, how to manage the organization and your time schedules, and all of these things. And of course, we have our wealth, our income. I mean, do we have are we able to bring in a little extra on the side as homeschooling mothers? Do we work full time? Do we manage our budget? All of these things. Now, all of these things, they demand so much of us, but whoever taught us how to manage them? And it's a tragic reality in our culture today that so many of us as women, we just get thrown out there into the world thinking that we have learned so much in our education, and we may have had 4.0 GPAs, and we have doctorates, and we have masters, or whatever else. We feel like we have success, and then when it comes to actually living our lives, we find, well, how do I manage my health? How do I manage my friendships? How do I manage my environment, or my intimate life, my contribution, my wealth, my family, all these things? And we start to drown. And then that's where we find that when these things, which make up the woman, it's depleted. And then we don't have anything to give. So what often happens is you have your family life. And in your family life, you say, I want to pour all myself into my children. I want to be a wonderful homeschool mom. And because I'm giving all of myself to my children, I really don't have time to manage my health. I was up all night nursing a baby. I didn't sleep well. I don't have time to exercise, and I haven't had the time to meal plan or prepare healthy meals. And so as a result, I'm sluggish. I'm tired. My brain is muddled. This is where I believe that we end up with what we call mom brain, and it's a tragedy because it's not supposed to be like that. We have mom brain when we're not healthy, when our brains do not have what they need to function properly. And so our health, we don't have the energy to consider our words carefully, or the strength to manage our tempers and our emotions properly, or to be able to go out and play with our children, and to run and to laugh and to giggle. We're fully depleted because we haven't managed our health, physical, mental, or spiritual health. all those things we've neglected because we were pouring our whole self into our family and we thought that was good, we thought that was noble, but we neglected something that would have filled up our cup so that we could give to the family. Same thing with our wealth. This happens all the time as well. We say, well, I'm a full-time homeschool mother, I'm giving all myself, and I just don't have time to do a little side hustle or a side gig. And because of that, well, we don't have any extra income for piano lessons or for date night to contribute to my marriage or to give to charity or any of those wonderful things that I would love to do that would actually help my children. And why can't we take on a side gig or work full time? Well, it's because nobody ever taught us to manage our time and our schedule or our health or our self-image or our environment. All these things, you see how when one is out of balance, they are all out of balance. And when we don't have the energy that we need to be a mother, are we really the wonderful mothers that we want to be? We're not. When we don't have an extra, we don't have abundance, we can't get those things that would really aid our children's education and give them a well-rounded formation. You know, the piano lessons and the vacations and the things that would be very good for them. We can't do that because we weren't properly managing that arena of our life, which might be wealth. When we're not focusing on our contribution to the world, then inside there's a calling that God has given to us, and we start to feel resentful of our calling as mothers because there's something that is inside us calling us that we have to do, not at the cost or at the sake of our families, but with our families, and to show our families that being a mother and being a homeschool mother is not the death of our dreams, but it is a fulfillment of our dreams. It is a completion of our dreams. So when we neglect these arenas, we begin to neglect actually what it is that is at the heart of our desires, and that is being the best mother and being able to give from a full cup, right? Being able to give from a place of abundance. When we are whole, we have plenty to give. So mom care, that's what I take care of in the summertime. I look at these arenas in my life. I let life slow down a little bit, and I say, if I can't bring in a little extra income and there's nothing left over at the end, can I build some skills around my schedule that can allow me to bring in a little extra income that can provide these things for my kids? Or what about my health? If I'm sluggish, if I'm tired, if I'm not thinking clearly, maybe this is the time where I can really focus in on that, the nutrition that's so vital. How many hours of sleep am I getting? If I have a newborn and a baby is keeping me up all night, what can be worked out? What kind of help can I get? How can we work around this so that this mom is getting what is necessary, physically necessary, so that she can give from a place of abundance? And I would challenge you to do the same thing, right? This should be far from overwhelming. Instead, this should be an opportunity to realize how to rise above those things that make you feel hopeless. There is hope. There is great hope, because if you figure out which arena of your life is really holding all the others back, and you just focus on a few necessary skills in that arena, and you find that everything starts to come into balance, and that's very hopeful. You don't have to stay stuck, stay discouraged, stay in a place of burnout. There's a lot of hope. There's a lot that can be done. So that's one aspect of the training that we have here, is how to keep mom from struggling with burnout. And ultimately, I believe that this is one of the most important aspects of homeschooling. You are your child's education, and when mom is whole, the kids are whole. So focus on yourself. Focus on yourself. That's not selfish. selfish. It is the furthest thing from being selfish, because ultimately, when we focus on ourselves, it is for the purpose of contribution. It is for the purpose of generosity. Have a great afternoon.